So I am going to have you play a quick game with me. In just a second, I'm going to ask you to choose either an alien, a tiger, or a cow. And now you won't say it out loud. You're going to show us. And we're going to see if we can all get on the same wavelength. And I've seen it done before. And so wherever you're watching, even behind the screen, you can play as well. So this is what it looks like. If you choose alien, it is one finger on each side of your head. We can practice. It's good practice. Everyone can do that. That's your antenna. That's alien. If you choose tiger, each hand is a claw in front of you. And if you choose cow, it is 4 fingers on each hand, right at about your waist. So make your decision, alien, tiger, or cow. I'll count to 3, and then we will show our choice. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Wonderful. Good. We have some energy in the room. Hopefully you saw what other people were choosing, so you got some data. I think we can do one more round. Make your choice, alien, tiger, or cow. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. You notice what other people did. And thank you so much for playing. For everyone, there was that moment where you thought, am I going to play? Can I do this? Can I let my guard down enough to actually engage? You see, as adults, we've learned to keep our guard up. We've learned to protect ourselves from criticism and judgment. We've put on armor. And no doubt you've heard of the concept of emotional armor before. Many of us wear this armor around without even thinking about it. And I know this firsthand because my job is going and helping professional teams of adults find play and connection. I help them play together, communicate better, find joy, and in doing so, completely change the culture of their work. So I see initially how hard it is for adults to play. I mean, especially when there are many more productive things they could be doing. This idea of embracing play is all about letting your inner child out. And I made a very conscious decision today to come as my inner child and not bring my armor. I am here fully the most Betsaida that I can be. And actually, that's me. See, in my life, I have collected many pieces of armor, but I've decided I don't need them as much as I thought I did. But before we get to that, I think it would help you to understand how I collected my armor. And even though it will be different from yours, since each one of us collects our armor in a different and unique way, I hope that as you hear my story, you'll relate to your own. Growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money, which is fine by me. I didn't really know any different. I had a happy childhood. And one of the things that we used to do was thrift shop. And this was years before it was trendy or before Macklemore had written a song about it. And we didn't shop at Goodwill. I mean, that's a brand name store. We went to a place called Thrift Store. And we went on Wednesdays and Saturdays exclusively because that's when it was an additional 30% off. So one day, I'm leaving Thrift Store with the bag of some clothes, and I see a kid from my class, which is always weird to see a classmate outside of class, but I didn't think too much of it until the next day when he told everyone, Betsaida shops at the thrift store. Her family's poor. And all the kids started laughing at me. And I was mortified. And I didn't really even understand because I kind of thought my stuff was cute, but when they laughed at me, I felt so ashamed and so small. And I put my first piece of armor on that day to protect my fragile heart so that I would never feel that way again. So they'd never see that I wasn't cool or that I didn't fit in. Growing up, I was such an eager kid. always had my hand up. I was always ready to answer a question. I mean, I didn't always have the right answer to the question, but I was so excited to participate. I wanted to be involved in everything that was going on around me. And you can imagine that some adults found me to be exhausting. I had 2 teachers, actually, that transferred me outright to another class in what I can imagine is a way to no longer have to deal with me. Stop needing so much attention. Stop being so much. More armor. I put my hands down and I tried to be less. Growing up, I came from a very conservative home. There were really strict rules about what you could and couldn't do, especially as a young woman. I wasn't even allowed to cut my hair till I was 13. Okay, actually, I wasn't even allowed to cut my hair when I was 13. I just kind of did it without permission, and it was tragic. But growing up, I was taught to fit into this frame of acceptable young lady. Know your place, be a good girl. But this frame of acceptable lady, it just never quite fit me. And it just became more armor that weighed me down. For my 17th birthday, my best friend invited me over, and we were gonna rent a movie, back when you went to a physical store to do that kind of thing. You remember? And we were gonna get a cake to split between the 2 of us. And I thought, this is the perfect, low-key way to celebrate my birthday. And at this point in life, I had learned not to make a big deal about a lot of things because I wanted people to like me. And I knew that a part of that was not going against what they wanted. Yeah, I wanted to please people and keep them liking me. So that day when she suggested that we rent Notting Hill, starring Hugh Grant, I didn't tell her that I wasn't really a fan of the guy. I'm honestly still not. But back then, I couldn't bring myself to tell her. She picked up a copy and I just went along with it. And then later when she picked up a double-decker chocolate cake, I didn't tell her the truth. I hate chocolate cake. I just said nothing. So for my 17th birthday, I celebrated by eating a bland cake and watching a blander movie. My people-pleasing was a shield. It was just another piece of armor. And I used this shield a lot. I thought that if I was agreeable and people just saw a reflection of themselves, that they would like me more, and I just could keep hiding. But even though I was hiding, there was something inside me that wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be on Broadway or have a residency in Vegas. I wasn't even sure what that was, but it sounded awesome. And I remember an arts teacher that I just adored telling the class one day, just matter-of-factly, that those of us who had dreams of being in the arts and having a job in the arts should have a backup plan, because most people never make it. And that just hit me and it stuck. You'll never make it. More armor. Stay grounded or you'll be disappointed. And I know that that teacher was just trying to protect me from disappointment, but what I also heard that day was stop dreaming. And that's when the helmet came on. And I stopped dreaming so big. And without even giving it much thought, I wore this armor and carried it around. I didn't even think about how heavy it was, but it was weighing down my inner child. It was tamping down my access to joy and my ability to authentically connect with others, which makes sense when you think about it, because if I'm in my full armor and you're in your full armor and we try to connect, that's an awkward hug. I needed my armor to protect me. And at first, I needed it because I was afraid. But the longer that I wore my armor, it actually ended up disconnecting me from myself. The longer I wore it, the harder it was to remember who I was before the armor. Who's that Betsaida? My inner child, my authentic self. Who I would be if I could completely let go of the expectations of others and just be my most Betsaida. And I got really excited thinking about connecting with her. But taking off the armor felt really scary and vulnerable. See, I had collected the armor when I was thinking about others, when I was worried that I wouldn't be accepted, that I wouldn't be understood, that I wouldn't measure up, when I was afraid of what others would think of me, worried about their expectations of me. So when I was ready to shed my armor and connect with my inner child, I had to go in the opposite direction. I had to remember who I was before I was told that I wouldn't, couldn't, or shouldn't be me. And so I started to play more. And no, I didn't take off my shoes and go play in a sandbox with some strangers' kids. What I did, because play is actually a mindset. It's a thing that you do when you're not worried about the outcome or the expectations of others. So personally, I got a coloring book and a set of color pencils. And I would color a page when I needed to decompress. I sat in my car and I listened to a song over and over. And when I felt comfortable with the lyrics, I went and I sang that song at a karaoke bar in front of strangers. I started doodling again. And at first, I didn't show anyone, it was just for me. And I would make these little characters, and I was having so much fun, and it was building my confidence. I started listening to story podcasts, and I got lost in the stories of others, and it inspired me to be more honest about my story and not just quietly go along with the crowd. I mean, I got on stage, and I tried improv comedy. I laughed more. And I gave myself permission to learn from my mistakes, and I found ways, big and small, to find joy that was just for me. And eventually, I was able to be more comfortable wearing less armor around others and just be my most Betsaida. You see, play is a powerful tool for authenticity and connection. Because when we play, when we truly play, you have to let your guard down. You have to take off the armor. You have to give yourself permission to do what makes you happy without worrying about the outcome. See, unfortunately, in this modern world, armor is synonymous with adulthood. So someone in their full armor looks at play and sees it as pointless and silly. Because taking off your armor to play is unproductive. And it's counter to the common perception of what adult behavior is supposed to be. But the longer we wear our armor, our inner child is hiding underneath. And we're sending them the message that it's not safe out here for them, that they cannot come out to play, that they can't experience authentic connection, that they can't experience joy. And even though it's scary, it's not hard. Think to when I first walked out here and asked you to play. Some of you had to put down some armor to play with me. And think of how that went. And imagine if you were able to take off more armor, what your life might look like. You see, play is individual, and it's going to be different for each one of us. It's the thing that you do that makes you feel the most you. It's the thing that you do not because you have to, but because you want to. See, each one of us decides how we want to play. So whether that is singing or dancing, reading, daydreaming, color-coding spreadsheets, LARPing, going for a stroll without a destination, cooking without a recipe, decorating, whatever silly, pointless activity calls to you, I hope that when you hear that call, that you're able to put your armor down and go play with your inner child. Thank you.